In Venezuela, the desperation is growing. Rescuers still searching for survivors in the rubble from two big earthquakes in more than a century, the biggest. Nearly 1,500 people are dead and close to 70,000 people reported missing. It is an unbelievable sight. Let's go to, we're going to go to a stunning rescue that we have to show you. A 9-month-old infant miraculously pulled from the rubble. The baby's mother was saved as well. On that mission was a Heroes for Humanity volunteer. They help save lives from around the world. The founder of that organization, Dennis Price, joins us now. Dennis, it's amazing that anybody could have survived the collapse of that building, but a little baby and the baby's mother? Tell us how that happened.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Honestly, how it happens is amazing men and women all around the United States and the world stepping in to help out others who are in harm's way. Here, it's a collaboration of not just my organization, but a whole bunch of people all around the world in multiple different countries, not just America, to help out those who need it. So that's why I love this video. It's a combined joint effort with us and a whole bunch of other people coming together to do the right thing for the right reason.
When so many thousands of people have been lost and most likely crushed in that terrible building collapse, I guess it's just luck that keeps a mother and her baby together and alive in some kind of an air pocket, huh?
Honestly, it's what I found in the world of tragedies, doing this from the 7.7 earthquake that hit Thailand, and we were there the next day, from the California fires, Hurricane Helene, and the Guadalupe River floods in Texas, and now this disaster. It's faith and people come together. That's and having hope for that. She was able to hold on because she knew that people are going to step up and do the right thing and come for her safety, and a lot of prayer.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw in that video. Exactly that is pure love, helping one another.
Absolutely. What about the timeline here, though? It's been days since those earthquakes hit, and at some point it stops being a recovery operation. I'm sorry, stops being a rescue operation and becomes a recovery operation, does it not?
No, exactly what you just said. We've been doing tragedies for years now, and this part of the operation, typically we've seen it goes from search and rescue with dogs, technology, signals, and different screams, to the sad part, which we're having now, is 3+ days where the people aren't able to hold on, and you're having to start going in due to smell, rigor mortis, death, and these are things that I think the American people and society brush over. Is I think we're just so accustomed to just seeing this and seeing numbers and stats, not seeing personal faces, named lives, and the tragedies. And that's why the urgency to send groups like Heroes for Humanity and other groups like this to go in and help those in need, because time is of the essence right now, and we're starting to run out really soon of the people who are still holding on. And we can still continue. Our teams are there right now. We have about 14 volunteers and supporters right there on the ground. And our next wave is in the airport as we speak and landing there. And then just keep amazing volunteers around the United States who just keep going in waves to help. But right now, one of the biggest things that we see and all the others see is the visa problem with having to work that through State Department and whatever because of search and rescues, that we can waive a 14-day exemption or a necessary one for the visa requirement. So that's one of the things that we in the rescue world are all kind of dealing with right now, but we're able to circumvent it through certain ways from there. But
so appalling to see these. So appalling to see some of these pictures of buildings that have just been flattened like dominoes. I mean, one story cascading onto the one below it. Tell us about your team. You said you had 14 volunteers in there. Tell us about the people who are working with you.
So we're a group of volunteers all around the United States. We have about 61 operators, primarily veterans, specifically veterans for special operations, medical personnel, and first responders, and people who truly believe and we're not just a nonprofit, we're a ministry. So we sow seeds in churches and all of our network around the world so that when an organization or a natural disaster happens like that, we can hit up our network and the churches and get volunteers to flood to the area, fly not just our banner, but the banner of Jesus Christ, and help those people in need and sow seeds of faith, love, and hope into the people who are trapped and the people and the families who are affected, who are still holding on to hope for their loved ones missing. Because a lot of people are displaced.
Yeah.
A lot of people are homeless right now. The grocery stores are from the people, all volunteers on the ground are saying that a lot of them have been ransacked or running out of supplies. So panic has set in.
Yeah.
Chaos has set in, and we just need to continue to work together and help these people as much as we can.
Dennis Price, thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on.
You bet. Let's go back to our Nate Foy. He's got the latest on the ground live from the capital of Caracas, Venezuela. Nate.
Hey, John. So as your guest was just explaining, time is of the essence right now. We're on the 4th day of this disaster. So the rescue crews are digging through the rubble, trying to find anyone who may still be alive and has had the structure collapse on them. One of those examples you can see is right behind me, where this 17th-floor condo building fully collapsed. We spoke with a woman who has a cousin who is living on the 2nd floor, still holding out hope that she's alive. On the far side, John, you can see a second tower that is also damaged. It did not collapse, but they are going to have to take that tower down. And we've had several aftershocks, which poses a damage for all these rescue workers, because an aftershock could bring down that second tower, which again is already damaged. But the worst of this, John, is actually in La Guaira. It's a city about a 30-minute drive from where we are. Take a live look as our Fox News team is there. People from Caracas are bringing Starlinks to La Guaira so survivors can communicate with rescue workers. U.S. rescue teams are here as well. And the chief of mission for the U.S. Embassy in Venezuela tells Fox News the Trump administration will be here for Venezuela as long as it takes.
I think when you see it from home on TV and the pictures doesn't do it justice. There are very large residential buildings that have been absolutely toppled, and communities have been devastated. But again, this response from President Trump has been absolutely massive.
And that response from the Trump administration led to the rescue of an infant from the rubble. You see that here. American teams found the baby, and they also found the baby's mother as they removed her from a collapsed structure on a stretcher. Now, the hope is that more of those rescues will happen, John, but obviously, as we said, time is of the essence. Our team in La Guaira actually saw a body pulled from the rubble about an hour ago. The death toll over 1,400 right now. Unfortunately, that is expected to rise in the coming hours, days, and weeks. We'll send it back to you, John.
Yeah, and stunning numbers of missing people, nearly 70,000 reported missing, right, Nate?
Yeah, that is actually the number that is probably most important. 68,900 people reported missing by their families. Many of those people, John, trapped under the rubble. There have been rescues throughout the day, so some people are still alive. But now on this 4th day, these people have been trapped without food, water. The air is very toxic here. The air quality is terrible. So it's really, really difficult conditions. Here where we are, John, we did see an animal rescue earlier today, but we have not seen any survivors pulled from the wreckage behind me.
Nate Foy. Nate, thank you.